of JLT Condor that crossed the line 5th. So normally that would be the end of the sprint competition, and Tom Stewart would have won it with 15 points. There he is in the lead, he's got 15, and there are the rest of the standings. But the first 5 over the line when they sprint for the finish will also get points the same. So it means there are 4 sprints now in the chain reaction cycles points jersey competition. But if you look at the mix behind of the riders that have collected the minor points, Stewart has amassed enough to pull on that leader's jersey.
It's been a brave effort by Tom Stewart from Madison Genesis. He's absolutely no help. Does look as if he's going to be leading that sprints competition, but just look at his teammates right towards the front. Scully and Northey, the 2 Kiwis, just policing the front of the peloton, and we see more lap riders. Really difficult course here in Isle of Wight.
Last year's overall champions, that was JLT Condor. Well, they've had a quiet night, but it looks very much to me as though Stewart is going to get picked up here. The peloton are starting to bore down on him. They're just picking up 1 or 2 lap riders. You can see them all coming up to the back of the competitors that have lost a lap. And JLT Condor have had a quiet race so far, Brian, so they could have some fresh legs, but still determined to try and stay clear is Stewart.
Just looking further down this long line of riders, I can actually only see Christian House there from JLT Corner, the winners of the Tour Series last year, plus 1 other rider. So it doesn't look as if they have got 5 riders at the front of this race. Just also looking at Janko Barker leading the way for One Pro Cycling. And they do have 5 riders in this front of this race.
Yeah, I think I caught a glimpse of Ed Clancy as well near the back of the peloton, but the pressure and the severity of this circuit has certainly thinned the field down. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they do bridge, because Stewart is now being pulled back. Now then, one of the riders there from Team Wiggins having a go to try and close up. That looks a bit like Chris Lawless to me.
Yeah, the young man, Chris Lawless, just comes up to Tom Stewart. So he's the first rider to cause a reaction. It's just Christian House on the wheel. You see Madison Genesis yet again in the orange helmets have many numbers towards the front of this race.
So the field is now all back together. It's going to be a grand finale. Welcome back. We're into the closing stages of this absorbing race, and once again on the front it's Madison Genesis, JLT Condor in second place, and Tom Scully, the Kiwi, looking to be trying to get clear here.
You can just see the amount of orange helmets for Madison Genesis towards the front of the peloton. They have been attacking all this race tonight with Tom Stewart. They've decided to go with the Kiwi Tom Scully now. A reaction from the series leaders as we see One Pro Cycling trying to shut Scully down.
So Scully, he's another man like Stewart. Once he gets the bit between his teeth and he distances himself from the sharp end of the peloton, he takes a lot of pulling back. A cracking rider, Scully. Won the gold medal in Glasgow last year in the Commonwealth Games for the points race, and he got a silver medal in the World Championships for the same discipline. This is Scully at his best.
Christian House for JLT Condor realises the danger of Scully gone. He knows that Scully has won individual rounds in the past, and also in 2013 won the sprints overall. So Christian House trying to come. So is John Mould, the rider from Wales, and another reaction from Tobin Horton from Madison Genesis. A lot of riders really in trouble now in a very small group.
The field has fractured significantly here as Scully really does begin to apply the pressure. It's as though he's got wings on his wheels as he came up Union Street there. He's looking back because he's expecting company. And the king of the sprinters last year trying to come across is John Mole and Christian House. This would be a triumvirate of talent if they could link up.
So the 25-year-old Kiwi Tom Scully leading the way for Madison Genesis. Just behind him, as Hugh says, is John Mould, the Welshman for One Pro Cycling, and then you've got Christian House from JLT Condor. And these closing laps, this peloton is absolutely all over the place, and a lot of riders must be looking around and thinking, where are my teammates? You've got to remember that all 5 riders have to finish. All lap riders will get to 3 laps to go where they'll have to sprint, and then what will happen to you is their average lap time will be added to their time at the end of the race.
Well, I tell you, those riders are falling back. They're not closing down on Scully. We've got 3 laps to go, and this is where the lap riders are going to be pulled out. So what is left of that peloton is going to get even less. We saw Steele Van Hoff just going through there, but he's one of the back markers because he had a mechanical earlier in the race, and you can't have a lap out for punctures or mechanical problems. Great effort this then by Scully, the gutsy Kiwi. Such a nice guy as well, but once he gets involved in the race and gets clear, there's no stopping him. He's literally sprinting for the summit of this hill. As I say, it's ramped up right from the left-hander as they leave the finishing straight, and it gets steeper and steeper. Remember, 2 minutes a lap. They've been going around here for over 60, so they've gone up this hill 30 times. It really is beginning to hurt.
This is Morgan Kaniski, the 27-year-old Frenchman from Rally JAC, with Ian Bibby for NFTO. So 2 riders trying to go across to Scully. Scully did this in 2013 where he won the individual rounds in Ipswich and Redditch, and it looks as if he could be well on his way to winning a 3rd individual round here in the series in 2015.
Well, if he stays clear and picks up the 5 points for this final sprint, then his tally would stretch out to 10. That's not going to threaten his teammate Stewart, who's already sitting ahead on 15. But they've really ridden magnificently as a team tonight, Madison Genesis. And let's not forget they were in the runner-up spot in the team time trial earlier in the day.
Second in the team time trial this afternoon, and now Tom Stewart was on the attack. Now we have Tom Scully, so they really are attacking the Tour Series this year. Where are the other 4 teammates? You can just see the crowd really banging the barriers. Coming up to the line to start the penultimate circuit here, and Madison Genesis really have fielded a very strong team tonight. Tobin Horton is in there, Mark McNally, Mike Northey, Tom Stewart, and this man, Tom Scully. And now he really is beginning to fan the flames at the front. 2 more riders then taking up the chase. Rally GAC, and also in there is Ian Bibby, and the man from Rally is Morgan Kaniski. Both of these riders still just off the front of the peloton. It's all about numbers. Plenty of white jerseys as series leaders of One Pro Cycling in that group behind. Can Tom Scully keep it going? He's got a healthy advantage. He does look strong. He could be adding some bonus seconds if he does distance the peloton and win as his own. He could be adding these bonus seconds, which may be very important when it comes to the aggregate time towards the end of this race. Yeah, just to repeat again, it's the cumulative time of the 5 finishers in each squad that decide who wins the team championship. So if Scully could make a big window of advantage for himself, then on countback, when they add the times together, that could be very, very useful. And at the front of the peloton as Kaniski and Bibby comes through, you can just see the white jerseys really trying to close this down. They look as if they're one of the only teams with 5 riders in that chasing peloton, but it's all about Madison Genesis tonight and the way they've come out and attacked this race. It does look as if they could be getting individual honours, but this Tour Series is all about the team competition, and that's what everybody's looking at. Well, Bibby right on the front. He is a rider with immense talent. He can ride stage races, he can ride circuit races, and as I mentioned earlier in commentary, he's a pretty cyclo-cross champion. But once again, Scully sweeps round that left-hander. That was a lap rider that's enveloped between him and the front of the peloton. He's looking very strong to me here, Scully. The Kiwi that's distanced himself. They've got 2 Kiwis actually on that team, Madison Genesis. They've also got Mike Northey. Bell lap, that's music to his ears then. Scully sweeps over the line. There's 1.3 kilometres standing between him and his 3rd victory in Tour Series history. So many teams have been found wanting in this circuit and ride. Very, very difficult. Now Ian Bibby on the attack. He's dropped Kaniski of a Rally JAC, but look, just look at the numbers here. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white jerseys, but the other teams, I can only see 3 riders with the orange helmets from Madison Genesis. They've got 1 in front. You can just see Tom Scully looking behind to see what their advantage. It does look as if he's going to get the individual, but it's all about the team. It does look as if One Pro Cycling have plenty of riders towards the front, but all Scully has to do now is try and gain as much time as possible, because as you say, it's the accumulative time at the end of the race tonight. And he's certainly making a good job of it. He looks back once again. You can breathe out now then, Tom. You've taken the left-hander. Now you've got the descent, and that's going to be a sweet descent that's going to line you up for the run to the line. There's a contrast in styles. Look at these 2 back markers, particularly the rider from Starley Primal, Velo Sure Starley Primal. He was hardly getting the pedals over. John Mould comes to the front for the series leaders, the Pelazumi Tour Series with the white jerseys. They have got 5 riders in this peloton, but it's all about this man in Madison Genesis tonight. They really have taken this race by the scruff of the neck. They've possibly just been looking for the individual prize, which it looks as if they're going to get by the 25-year-old Kiwi, but it's the team competition. They've only got 3 riders in this chasing group.
Chris Opie, the fast-finishing Cornishman who got the silver in the National Criterium Championship to Adam Blythe in Hull last year. He's in that group behind, so he'll be a man figuring strongly in the final sprint to the line. But nobody's going to spoil the party for this fella. He's powering his way down the finishing straight. He's going to pick up more back markers. And the crowd are warming to his arrival as the public address commentary advised that he's now approaching the line. There he is, crossing the line, hands in the air. 3rd victory in the history of the Tour Series for the Kiwi. Tom Scully, the individual victor, but remember, it's where his teammates are finishing that counts. Up to the line for 2nd place, Ian Bibby. He's the first of the NFTO finishers. His teammate just behind as well, Jonathan McAvoy. And in 4th place was Chris Opie of One Pro Cycling. There's the result confirmed. And Chris Lawless of Team Wiggins coming in 5th. But it's all about where the teammates finish.
And Tom Scully's done well for Madison Genesis, picking up a few bonus seconds.
And there's confirmation of the Chain Reaction Cycles points jersey competition. Tom Stewart with those 3 wins gives him the jersey for tonight. Scully coming in 2nd.
Strong individual performances tonight from Madison Genesis with Tom Stewart and Tom Scully on the attack. Scully taking the individual win, but it's all about the team.
Tom, what did that mean to you?
I'm pretty happy. Happy with where the form's at, conditions at, and you know, it's the opening round. It's everyone's going to see how everyone's going tonight, you know. So we've known the event's going to be on for a while now. So you're either ready or you're not. So I think we're in good shape.
But some impact on the team, isn't it, just by dropping 1 man, and that's the complication of this new format.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because, you know, you've got to race your bikes at the front as well, but if someone's on a bad night or, you know, someone's just not feeling, it's going to be hard for the whole team. So it could impact the race overall, actually.
It's the same for every team, though. I guess that's the point.
Same for every team, and, you know, that's what it's about, you know, having a strong team across the board. So we'll, you know, each round at a time and see how we go.
Okay, you've got about half an hour to catch the ferry. You better go. Cheers.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Cheers.
And to complete a good night for the Madison Genesis boys, Tom Stewart pulled on the Chain Reaction Cycles points leaders jersey. And next up were One Pro Cycling leaders after round 1 of the Pelazumi Tour Series. Madison Genesis lies 2nd, not unexpectedly, with NFTO Pro Cycling in 3rd. A good night then for a new team on the British racing scene.
Well, 2 rounds done in 1 day and 2 wins, so that's pretty much as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If we knew that was going to happen, we'd have been over the moon. So it was a hard race, probably one of the hardest crits I've ever done, seriously. And pretty much everybody said that when they got back to the bus. So really, really happy. Obviously, you know, you have to overcome a lot. It was a lot of wet and danger, and obviously the climb every time was really hard. And we were just really pleased to stay in the front group and, you know, keep the time down to the minimum.
It's a combination of legs, racing brain and good fortune, isn't it? Because if you drop 1 man for whatever reason, then it could be game over for your team.
Absolutely. You could, you know, you could attack on the climb, get 10 seconds and put one of your teammates out the back who loses a minute.
So an impeccable ride, it has to be said, for One Pro Cycling, who've got off to a flyer on this Tour Series. But behind them, ill fortune for a number of teams, but perhaps none more so than yours. Well, you, in fact, not so much your team. You got all the bad luck tonight, didn't you?
No, my team went pretty well, but unfortunately I had a poorly timed mechanical, and it just put me out of the race, because without being able to take a lap out, it was race over. I tried to get back in and got within 8 seconds at one stage, and held that at about 10 seconds for maybe 3 to 4 laps, and was just sitting on 195 heart rate the whole way, and it was just all too much, and I just had to grovel to the line and do the best I could after that.
So, but that's the interesting thing about this format, isn't it? Because in a normal crit race, if you have a stroke of bad luck that takes you out of the race like that, you pretty much sit up and you know, twiddle round and so on. But you can't afford to do that because your time dictates where your team
exactly.
finishes.
And it's a little bit difficult having that format, because I did also hear a story of one guy that was very unfortunate on the start line. His rear mech unplugged or something for his DR2, and he didn't get off the start line,
right,
and he didn't get a lap out So
Yeah.
it was race over from the gun for him.
Wow.
So it does make it a bit difficult, but everyone's in the same boat. But it is frustrating when it can win or lose you the day.
Well, it was a dramatic spectacle played out in front of really good crowds. Bad luck to you. I'm sure you'll be back. There's plenty more racing in those legs.
9
I'm
left.
absolutely sure of that. All right, from the Virgin territory, at least in the Tour Series sense of the Isle of Wight, we head to more familiar ground in